Hello everyone, Black Rose Duelist here, and I'm back from my temporary silence. It's officially summer break now, so I have all the time in the world to make videos and play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what I've been doing this week. I haven't really been making any videos, but I've been testing decks for videos, and this is the one I've had the most fun and most success with, surprisingly. The Cosmo matchup with this deck is freaking fantastic. I win way more duels than not with Cosmos than I do any other deck, really. I meant, I beat Cosmos more than any other deck, not only because I faced them so much, but because this deck is basically made to beat Cosmos, and that doesn't really mean that it's not good against other decks, though, either. I know a lot of times stun decks are targeted for specifically one deck, and whenever they face any other deck, they collapse. But this deck is actually really good against all Pendulum decks. It has a decent Monarch matchup. It's the only kind of bad one, but it has a freaking fantastic Pendulum and Cosmo matchup, and that's basically what this format's all compiled of. So, also against Mermail and Infernoids, the deck is very, very, very anti-special summon. That's why Monarchs, to an extent, they're not great against, but every other deck is fantastic, and I'll have some duels coming either tomorrow or the day after of examples of how good this deck is. So, what is this deck? It is Prophecy Stun, Spellbook Stun, whatever you want to call it. The deck is, again, focused more towards the Cosmo and Pendulum matchups, but it's good against other decks as well. The main reason why is the double Jowgen. Jowgen, I guess I understand to an extent. You'll say there's only two of it. Well, this deck thins out faster than someone throwing up. The deck is extremely, extremely fast. You're going to get through at least 5 to 10 cards your first 2 turns. I play 3 cards as a Demise. This card, let me tell you how, magical it is. You draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. This helps Spellbook so much because, as you can see, the majority is green and purple, meaning you can set basically every single card in your hand unless it's one of your very few monsters. So when you're drawing the 3 cards, the chance of you actually having to discard one is very, very small because you can set all of them. Also, the fact that you can set, say you go first, draw 5, set 4, play card to Demise, draw 3, say you draw into a Spellbook of Magician of Prophecy, summon Blue Boy, search, set 2, and play a tower. You're at 8 cards, 9 cards to their 5 starting off, so it plays you a huge advantage and it gets you to the Jowgen very, very quick. Also, I have 1 Vanities. Vanities in a Kaiku or a Kaiku in a Jowgen is extremely deadly. So I'm going to go through the deck list and then explain things as I go. So I play 1 Priestess. I almost took it out completely, but you kind of need 1 big beater in the deck that can help you get through things. So, yeah. Triple Kaiku. Kaiku is, again, very, very good against Cosmos because they can't banish from the grave, which means, oh, okay, I was like, oh gosh, I'm scared. It doesn't do anything. No, it does do things, because they can't banish the ships from the graveyard. So, once a ship is dead, it's dead. And the reason why this is good with this deck is because you have power. So, yes, I understand you can go to a big ship, and then it'll be really hard for you to get over, but because of all the searching, you can get into a Spellbook of Power, even 2 Spellbook of Powers, copying it with Master, or getting it to 31, 32 very easy with Star Hall. You can make it very, very, very powerful to get over those ships. Then once the ship dies, they can't play any more Cosmos because they can't banish from their graveyard. Also, you can banish things from the graveyard so they're more useless. Also against Pendulum decks, it's good against kind of the Pepe, Draco Pal, whatever, just because a lot of times they do send things to the graveyard that they later use. But yeah, it's just good in general because it's 1800 beater and your opponent can't banish from the grave. And it's good against Monarchs too because they banish cards from their grave kind of frequently, like the Pandemic or whatever. The one where they banish things and then add a card, yeah, that. They can't do that because Kaiku's on the field. Then we get to the MVP of the deck, Jowgen. The reason why Jowgen is so good right now is because, if you guys missed it, Fate's now at 3. I only played 2 because 3 is a bit excessive, but first turn Jowgen, you're going to get a good trap or 2 and a Fate most likely. First turn, play Jowgen, set like a not even Solemn Strike, maybe like a Burying Mirror Force and a Phoenix Windwing Blast and a Fate. They're not going to be able to accomplish anything because they're going to try to attack over Jowgen. You're going to play one of your Mirror Forces, one of your Phoenix Wind Blasts, then, or even a Spellbook Fate. So now they're stuck because they can't special summon. You then can switch Jowgen to defense mode. It's going to be kind of hard to get over that 1300 with a normal summon monster with all your back row. You can recycle Fate basically every single turn. So all they can do is rely on one normal summon. And it's really hard for them to get over Jowgen because you can keep recycling the Fate. And that's the main reason why Jowgen is so good, because it forces your opponent to have to normal summon, but because they can only normal summon once, Fate basically covers it every single turn. So you're going to get a couple turns where all you're going to be doing is recycling the Fate, banishing a monster. They can't do anything. Then you poke for damage with Kaiku. So yeah, Jowgen is incredible. Also, against, this is very good with Kaiku. Say you have a Kaiku and a Jowgen on the field, and your opponent has 2 ships. You discard a card, destroy both ships, and they can't summon any more monsters because Kaiku makes it so they can't banish. So, very, very, very powerful. Especially with Spellbook Star Hall, which is kind of why I only play one High Priestess. You can get a good 5-10 counters, especially if 2 of them. Make Jowgen a 2,000 beater. A 2,000 beater. Great. They can't get over it with a normal summon. Once you get to a point in the duel where you have like 10 counters on both of these, Jowgen's going to be at 2,200. They can't get over that with a normal summonable monster, so it gets crazy. Triple Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, Blue Boy, obviously he's basing another secrets. 2 power, 3 Spellbook of Master, 3 cards of Demise, MVP 2, 2 Eternity, 3 Secrets. Eternity is extremely good now that Fate's at 2. 3 Secrets, 2 Fate, 2 Star Hall. This might end up going to 3, probably not. If it were to go to 3, I'd probably take out Priestess, because then you can rely on Jowgen and Kaiku being beaters. Kaiku and Jowgen could end up being 2,500, 3,000 attack. It'd be crazy. Spellbook of Life, might bump this up to 2 as well, because you really need that Kaiku and Jowgen. 2 Spellbook of Tower. This card, it's just crazy. Basically, every turn you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1. It basically is an insta-win at a point. Once you get to turn 6 and you're in advantage over your opponent, you can basically claim victory at that point. Because after that, you're going to be drawing 2 cards every single turn. You're going to be able to recycle Fate. Your opponent won't be able to special summon. You're always in a good position if you're at advantage at like turn 5, turn 6. 2 Story Mirror Force and 1 Burying Mirror Force. I didn't really know what to do with these. I wanted to play 2 of each. But Phoenix Wind Blast is actually incredible. I didn't expect it to be that great, but okay, so you have tons of access, whatever you want to call it, cards in your hand. You always have a Spellbook of Master or some type of Spellbook card in your hand that you don't need to use. So, going against your opponent, a Pendulum deck, you might say it's not that good against Cosmo because you can't target. Well, if you have a Spiritualist, a Jowgen, they won't be able to special summon once you target. Also, you can target their... basically, another really easy win is against... do Phoenix Windwing Blast on their Cosmo Town. Very, very, very powerful. You also have Vanity's Empty... Oh, you can also do it on Pendulum Scales, which is very powerful as well. 1 Vanity's Emptiness. This is basically the trap version of Jowgen. Jowgen... There's a lot of times where Jowgen will get either Raigekki'd or something will happen to him, and they never expect emptiness. They're like, okay, I got rid of Jowgen, I'm free to special summon. You flip the vanities, and it's going to be very hard for them to get over. 3 strike and 1 warning. I might take out the warning for another Burying Mirror Force, but yeah, it is what it is. The only issue I have with these cards now, especially Solemn, is the fact that Jowgen exists. Actually, no, it's 2. Jowgen exists and Vanities exist in your deck, so a lot of times they don't even special summon, so you can't really use those 2. But in the case of Solemn Warning, they can only normal summon once per turn, and they can only have 1 summon per turn because Jowgen is on the field. When you Solemn Warning, that gets rid of their 1 summon of the turn. So it's a huge setback for them because they can only summon once per turn, and you Solemn that normal summon. So it's basically like skipping their turn. So the deck is extremely powerful. I don't play an extra deck. I will make an extra deck. I just didn't really know what to put in it, and most of the time, 90% of the duel, no one can special summon, and you can't special summon or exceed summon when you have Jowgen on the field, so it's not like you can ever go into a rank 3. You can only really go into a rank 2 and maybe a rank 4, but most of the times, I'd rather have 2 Kaikus than an Xyz monster, just because all your spellbooks, a lot of them require a spellcaster on the field, and Kaiku is just a great spellcaster, probably better than any Xyz you could pick. So, thank you for watching. I'll be having more duel videos of this deck, hopefully tomorrow or the day after. So if you're interested in that, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, Black Rose Duelist here, and I'm back from my temporary silence. It's officially summer break now, so I have all the time in the world to make videos and play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what I've been doing this week. I haven't really been making any videos, but I've been testing decks for videos, and this is the one I've had the most fun and most success with, surprisingly. The Cosmo matchup with this deck is freaking fantastic. I win way more duels than not with Cosmos than I do any other deck, really. I meant, like, I beat Cosmos more than any other deck, not only because I faced them so much, but because this deck is basically made to beat Cosmos, and that doesn't really mean that it's not good against other decks, though, either. I know a lot of times stun decks are targeted for specifically